Morning everyone. It is Monday, August the 24th today, and despite these overcast skies, which are great for filming, we haven't had a lot of rain in the last week or so. With that in mind, we have had a great start to the cereal harvest, and despite some large straw volumes, most of the reports that we're getting are for some average yields, which is often a bit of a telltale for what we'll see later on in the season with some of our later maturing crops as well. With the moisture that we've had in August, there's not a whole lot of it, anywhere between 1/4 of an inch to a maximum of about 2 inches on the northern end of our territory. So with that in mind, there are some very dry soil conditions out there, and on some of those fields that have more gravel in the soil structure or where there's more compaction and the roots haven't developed to really pull up enough moisture, we are seeing some tip back in the corn. So that's mildly concerning, but any rain that we would get in the next week to 10 days will definitely help the corn and would help finish off the soybeans as well. So fingers crossed for a bit of rain. In terms of maturity, we are seeing some fields, especially some of the earlier maturing genetics, that are starting to dent. That's fairly important because from full dent to physiological maturity, where there's zero yield loss from a fall frost, we need about 32 days. So keep that in mind as we get out there and do some scouting and in terms of timing our harvest. From dent, we will be watching the milk line as well on some of our later silage hybrids because we're going to want to get to 1/2 to 2/3 milk line before we chop those. So those are some things to keep in mind as we move towards the harvest season. On the soybean front, most of the stands in our area are between the R5 and R6 stage of development. So at R6, we would have full green seeds filling those pods at any of the 4 uppermost nodes of the plant. At this point, we're going to have the maximum amount of seed weight in those plants as they will be drying down as we move towards physiological maturity. Obviously, August rains help fill those beans and build the seed size, and with some of the dry conditions out there, we are expecting smaller than average seed sizes this year, and that's obviously going to affect our yields a little bit as well. With all of those nutrients already in the pods, in those seeds, we're less concerned about insects, aphids, or spider mites moving forward. With that in mind, we can go out there and scout for some other things, like some of the weeds that have escaped this year, and there's a lot of them in the soybeans. Some of them are more concerning than others. The biggest concern that we have moving forward is probably with water hemp. We are seeing more of it in the soybeans than we have in the past, and some of that is likely going to be group 9 or glyphosate tolerant as well. Water hemp is a dioecious plant, so there's separate males and females, and that leads to greater genetic diversity throughout the species. With that in mind, moving forward, once the glyphosate stops working, we often see relatively quick resistance building towards groups 2, group 5, group 14, or group 27 herbicides as well. So it might be a good idea to get out there and pull some of those big plants right off of the field. Those plants will have over 1 million seeds on them, so if we get them off of the field, that's probably 1 million volunteers we don't have to deal with next year. We are going to be hosting some morning crop tours coming up on September 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. So they'll be in the Kleefeld, Turand, Friedensfeld, as well as St. Anne area. On the 11th, we'll also have a customer appreciation lunch at our warehouses, so please mark that on your calendar if you'd like to attend. Karis, Chris, and myself will actually be heading to Toronto later today to take in some Pioneer 100th anniversary events as well as some meetings, so we won't be around until Thursday and Friday. But if you do need some help scouting, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Once again, thanks for watching our videos, and we hope you have a great week.